At the height of the holiday season, retail stores in Chicago and across the country are experiencing a rash of thefts. Multiple in-store thefts have been recently reported on the Magnificent Mile, amounting to millions of dollars in stolen merchandise. But retailers say it's not just about the lost revenue, it's about safety. And they're calling for city officials to put more protections in place for businesses. Joining us to discuss the retail theft epidemic is Rob Carr, president of the Illinois Retail Merchants Association. Rob, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. So the businesses downtown, even in the suburbs, are experiencing this surge in organized retail theft. Describe what it is that they're seeing specifically.
Well, good evening, and I'm glad you worded it the way you did. It's a surge. Some people are trying to describe this as pandemic related, and that's just not accurate. It's been around for a little over a decade is how long we've been working on it. It has increased 60% in the last 5 years. And really what we're saying is more brazenness, more boldness on the part of the thieves. And we're seeing these in jurisdictions, frankly, where enforcement and prosecution has waned in recent years. That's what we're seeing, that boldness and that brazenness.
Do you think because of that boldness and brazenness comes from the fact that if you, as you say, the prosecution, like there's just no deterrent, they're not being threatened with repercussions?
Well, that's really the only thing that has changed, and I think it's important to note, that this is all connected. This is not organized retail crime funds a lot of other illicit activity. It funds human trafficking, it funds guns on our streets, it funds drug activity. Basically anything you can think of. So it's all interrelated, and I think too many leaders see it as simply an isolated event, and it's all related, and we have to address it comprehensively.
What are retailers doing themselves to deter these crimes from happening?
Yeah, great question. And I think it's unfortunate that some leaders have taken to blaming retail. The old newscast that we see every day with this thing happening, read about it in the papers, hear it on the radio, our eyes tell us that just isn't true, right? We're seeing security camera footage. We're seeing them blow right past armed security guards. We're seeing them breaking glass cases and cutting chains, all of those kind of security measures that retailers have in place. They're doing those things. So what we really need are our leaders to quit pointing fingers at each other and to engage with us in a cooperative fashion to address this and address it long term. It is not going to be a one and done fix. It's going to require a consistent approach. Criminals like weak targets. And right now, whether we like it or not, Chicago, like San Francisco, like New York, like Philadelphia, are seen as weak targets.
So Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul and his task force, they were able to recover more than $1 million in stolen merchandise from storage units in Chicago. Do you think those kinds of crimes can be deterred by just increasing security and, tougher prosecution?
Well, we have increased security, but I certainly think a willingness to address it more comprehensively. It's not going to be just that. It has to be more than that. And I think, we need to address online. We need to address a few other factors, and IRMA will be coming out in the very near future with our suggestions on how to approach that comprehensively. We have been a part of, since its inception, the Attorney General's task force. I speak with him and his staff frequently. We appreciate the leadership he's taken, and I think it's instructive that of all our leaders, he indeed has embraced it and understand it for what it is, which is a comprehensive, organized problem that will take a coordinated approach.
Okay, and of course, when you say online, you mean some of the stolen goods being resold, repurposed online. Now, according to National Retail Federation, retail thefts are costly to retailers, making the average revenue price $700,000 per $1 billion in sales. Another finding shows in 2019, 29% of retailers reported a revenue loss of $1,000. In 2020, that number rose to 50% of retailers reporting that. Rob, how will this economic performance impact the retailers?
Well, I think it's not only just how it impacts the retailers, but let's talk about that. It impacts the retailers because every item that is stolen puts more pressure on the existing items to sell. We have to make up our margin, whether it's in property taxes, wages and benefits. All the costs that go into the price of the retail product have to be made up in additional sales, which is very hard to do. The sales pie is only so big. But I think it's also important to note it's not just the retailer who's the victim. We're all victims. Retail sales tax is the largest revenue generator for local governments and the second largest for the state of Illinois. It is, frankly, as goes retail, so goes state of Illinois and those units of local government and the services we all rely upon. Just on using the very, very conservative estimate of a $60 billion problem nationwide, Illinois would be losing about $200 million in sales tax just on that very conservative estimate.
Now, in a press conference last week, Mayor Lightfoot said Chicago retailers have not done enough themselves to stop retail crime. Here she is.
But we've also got to push retailers. Some of the retailers downtown in Michigan Avenue, I will tell you, I'm disappointed that they're not doing more to take safety and make it a priority. For example, we still have retailers that won't institute plans like having security officers in their stores, making sure that they've got cameras that are actually operational.
Rob, what's your response to what the mayor just said?
I think those comments are extraordinarily unfortunate, and as we've said many times, they're misinformed. And again, you and I noted just a few minutes ago, what we see on the news every day shows that just isn't accurate. We see the camera footage. We see them blowing past armed security guards. We saw what happened to Joe Perillo's auto dealers just earlier this week. And those are only the most recent example. And we know it's not happening just on Mag Mile. It's happening in retail corridors all over the city, whether it's in Little Village or other areas around the city in Cook County. It just simply isn't an accurate statement.
Okay, a complicated situation, it sounds like. Rob Carr from the Illinois Retail Merchants Association, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.